Hello again. So I'm actually not gonna work on Sandpack. I want to do the meeting later today first to kind of get a sense of where we're at. So kind of just focus on the SDK because that is the primary focus at the moment. And then kind of reevaluate after that session. I'm also helping a customer here. Does it run? If you expect, so we're just talking about like they have like multiple apps and each app connects to a sandbox. And we're just talking about like how would you like connect to these different sandboxes as you're changing the app. So I'm just saying if you expect users to really change between apps, I think a good flow would be connect to sandbox, disconnect when unmounting, undo connect to sandbox for the next app. If you expect to flip between them relatively often, you can have a cache. So you can have multiple connect to sandbox running. That way, you'll able to instantly flip between apps. Maybe with a timeout or something. But yeah, depends on UX. So I would try to disconnect when you unmount an app. I have been trying to reproduce errors when mounting and mounting the shell, but it works fine here in isolation. Think I need some more context of how the code runs on your side. But regardless, I'll implement proper wait for messages to go through before disconnecting when disconnect is called. So we're gonna look at that first, I think. So currently, under the hood, we're running something called Picture Client. Picture Client is something we developed for the actual CodeSandbox product, but we always wanted to make it open source. And the way we made it kind of open source now is that this is still closed source, but the SDK is open source. And then we kind of build the Picture Client into the SDK and expose like a narrow set of features, like in a way that makes sense for an SDK. And I guess the idea is that at some point we're gonna like completely remove Picture Client and only have the SDK as an open source thing, but that's like into the future. So as we can see here, when we disconnect, we immediately dispose of the connection, but I don't think we should do that. I think we should make sure that we actually pass. If there are any queued messages, we need to let them go through first. What was the error you noticed on kill? Let's see. So there is something called this picture message handler. Get pending messages. So I thought we had, didn't this have us dispose pending messages? No, that just clears everything. So we need to know if we have any pending messages. And then I wonder, this message handler, did we have? How do we know when they're done? And also we don't want to allow you, well, we're setting the state to disconnected, so you can't send any more messages. But we want to make sure the stuff you sent, like deleting shell and stuff. Let's see, sorry for it. Okay, so there is this shell issue where the customer is like disposing of the shell or killing the shell, and then it says that the ID doesn't exist, which is kind of weird. But this could be like in their app as well. That's the tricky part. So we're doing a session on Monday to kind of look more deeply into that. Though we did verify that. But okay. That specifically. Cool. So how are we gonna get pending messages? So we're not really. Oh. Oh my god. Oh. Let's see. Sorry about that. So we have on message. When does that? Oh, it's fire. Okay, so we emit. What I'm wondering is if we should like listen to. If we have pending messages, should we listen to on message? And then just check pending messages again. So no, because that's before we actually resolve the message. Yeah. How are we gonna do this? We could just poll or have like an interval. Yeah. I think we have to do that. I think we have to do that. But is there like I can't remember if we did this. Is there an actual reconnect? Yeah, reconnect. Yeah. Okay. So this will be async. And do we actually have... No, this is specific for... Okay, so if length... Oh, that's a map. Size. We're gonna return new promise. Yeah, which is void, which we're gonna resolve. Yeah, so the thing is, like, for how long are we gonna wait for those messages? Yeah, no, all of them should be resolved. Okay, I think we should just try this. Like, I see that there might be an issue where you actually have some pending messages or something. What actually happens to if we set the state to disconnected? What happens to the message handler? I am thinking, because the message handler, I think the way we control this, if I remember correctly, yeah, we're message handler, there you are. I think we actually set on send request, set on send. Yeah, so the thing is, I guess we have to change this one as well. Yeah. So that means if we have pending messages, we have to say this message handler. This would be disconnected. And then if you try to reconnect, attempt reconnect, but this doesn't disconnect. Yeah, get pending messages, reconnecting, request picture instance. I'm just wondering if we're actually setting resolve current connection, blah, blah, blah. No, we're just saying that, set. No, that's an instance change required. Oh, subscribe connection. Oh, here we go. So this is, yeah, so when we resolve the current connection, we subscribe to it, and then we set the actual thing. So that this should be fine. So, so what we can do is that if you try to send a message when we're waiting for a disconnect, we just throw an error, disconnected. And that should be fine. And then we're gonna go through here. We're gonna set an interval. So like every 50 milliseconds, I guess, we can check again if we have any pending messages. So if we don't have, well, I actually like to do this. We're gonna return, and then we're gonna clear that interval. We're gonna just resolve. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think we should actually return. We should just await that promise. And then we're gonna disconnect. Yeah. I think this is it. So the disconnect is now async. We check if we have any pending messages. And if we do, we're gonna make sure that we tell the message handler that any new messages will throw a disconnected error. And then we're gonna await this promise that just, runs an interval until the pending messages are gone. And then we dispose of the connection. Yeah, I think that's it. The question now is, how the hell are we going to test this? I think we should just do a yarn link. So npm, wait, what are we using here to build it? pm build? Oh, we're building everything. I guess that's fine. Yeah, and then we go in. Yeah, I guess we could just have built. It's a lot of stuff. Is there like an on-shell shell process? Is it done? I think it's done. Oh. Sorry. Picture client. I just want to build this one. And then we're gonna yarn link it. Oh no. Can I ignore it? Back. Wait. Picture client. Did it? Huh? What has a package man? The project is configured to use PMPM because. Oh. Can I ignore? Yeah, whatever. I'm just removing that for now. I just need to link you. Cool. Cool, because now I can go into, where is the SDK? Minimize. I have a bunch of stuff open here. Let's just close some of them. This is a heavy project. Close. Update sandbox. Picture sandbox. Okay, cool. So I believe here we actually have picture client, right? Yeah. So we're gonna yarn link CodeSandbox picture client. Nice. And that means if I now go and wait, what's this npm? Yeah. Oops, what did I do? npm run build. So when we build this now, it should be an async. Oh, interesting. Cannot be named without reference to CodeSandbox picture client. Oh, interesting. Why is that suddenly necessary? Okay. These getters. Yeah, like I think that's enough. It's kind of weird. I don't understand these like weirdnesses of not sure why we have to explicitly type this. These getters, they're weird. Yeah, these getters are weird. And they're even weirder if you don't have classes. Getters in general are just bad for typing, I feel like. Okay, so now we have that. So if we go back to our shell now, and we say we actually want to disconnect. Oh yeah, so we of course have to make that a thing as well. So we're gonna do this disposable dispose. Are we adding? We're getting. That's the init. What about the constructor? Where's the constructor? There you are. Yeah, so this is interesting. We're actually disposing of. Yeah, so this is. Yeah, that's wrong. We should not on disconnect. We should not dispose of this. We should return that thing. Yeah, hi there. Okay. I'm not sure how I'm gonna put people more into context of what I'm doing, but okay, I'm gonna do the quick pitch. So I've been working at CodeSandbox, CodeSandbox.io, since the beginning. And initially, CodeSandbox started as this browser bundler. So you could work with code in the browser, and not like a fiddle type of thing, but actually like write apps in the browser. And we tried to monetize that. That's how I started. Like I contributed to CodeSandbox before that, but when I joined it as a company, we were trying to monetize sandboxes in the browser, and nobody wanted to pay for that. Even though we added a lot of cool features on top of it. And then we pivoted to trying to create the same experience of like this instant feel and simplicity of a browser sandbox, only using server technology. And at that time, we weren't sure how we were going to do that, but we got a lot of investment to figure it out, and we did. So we built this amazing infrastructure using VMs with always the goal in mind of like making it feel very ephemeral. And the product we built on top of that was tied to this concept of a cloud development environment that had kind of a tiny surge, but it turns out engineers doesn't want to code in the cloud. Which is understandable, but we had some unique flows and features that would only could only be enabled working in the cloud, and we loved working in the cloud. We built our cloud product working in the cloud product, but it was too much tension between the way engineers work today and how we envisioned them working in the cloud. So we weren't able to monetize that either. And then AI came along and we started discussing, oh shit, we have this insane infrastructure. Maybe it's not really meant for humans. Maybe it's meant for AI. But at that time, CodeSandbox was running out of money. And we were kind of exhausted. But we got acquired by Together AI. And now we're doing that pivot. We're making CodeSandbox more of not like an end user product, like with code editors and stuff. We're building SDKs and tools for companies and startups and people to kind of build their own products on top of all this stuff. So I am working on something called the SDK, which is how you interact with the sandboxes that runs on the server. And these are like proper VMs, like full development environments. It's not like just this REPL kind of thing. Yeah. So that's the story. And we're about to release like the first like official version of this. Let's see. Does this update now? Do I have to Let's see. And I'm currently working on a potential race condition when we're disconnecting. And no, it's still void. Why is it still void? So reconnect. Wait, where am I? Disconnect, not reconnect. Oh, this is also. Which picture client are we looking at here? Picture client. Oh, this is not the linked one. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna delete that one and then we're gonna try to link it again. Oh no, wait, was it the linked? I'm confused. Restart TS server. Or didn't I build it correctly? Why is that still, I made this async. But I'm wondering, don't I have my picture? There's supposed to be a type here somewhere. Oh, interface. Sorry. iPicture client, disconnect. This is going to be a promise void. Excuse me. And I'm wondering, is the browser okay with this? No, it's not. Let's make it async. There we go. Browser. Yeah, I think we're fine now. Okay, so let's build it again. And then let's minimize that. Does this suddenly? Oh, look at that. Suddenly it works. Okay, I think we have to build it again. And then we're going to experiment with this, see if it makes sense. Shell SDK test. And I guess now if we restart. Are you shitting me? Why? Oh, now it's okay. There we go. There it got updated. Okay, so the thing, how are we gonna test this? So it's very likely that, okay, so we're just gonna, how are you gonna do this? How can I ensure that there's a queued message? I could just fire off a bunch of how can we test this? Okay, so it's saying shell dispose, and then we're gonna await. Disconnected. I'm just gonna test how much time it takes. Const now. How do we do this? It's like date now minus now. So we're just gonna do like shell dot write a bunch of else, because these are also messages, but we're just gonna write a ton of them. X equals 0, X, like 100 of them. Yeah. And then we're gonna do shell dispose, and then we're gonna see if we can evaluate this somehow. What's the error? Okay. What's happening? Oh, here we are. Okay, so I'm opening the shell. It's fine. And then I'm gonna toggle it off. Yeah. So it took like 3 seconds to actually disconnect. That's interesting. But it worked, right? So it was actually waiting for all those messages to come in there. So I think that's a success. Yeah, no, this is fine. This is how it should work. So what we're gonna do is, oh, not picture. Where are you? CodeSandbox applications. So let's add that. Wait for pending messages on disconnect. Oh my god. All the spam. Wait for pending messages on disconnect. Where are you? There you are. Can you open? Thank you. Fix. Hello there. Yeah, I just did the pitch. if you go back like I guess a minute or something, I went through the story, but like I can do a quick summary. I'm working on CodeSandbox is about to release officially an SDK to work with sandboxes programmatically. So I'm kind of working on prepping for that. Yeah. So if you don't know CodeSandbox, go to CodeSandbox.io. Wait for pending messages. So currently, when calling disconnect, we would just so currently when calling disconnect, we would just close down the connection, but you might do other things manually to clean up before a disconnect. We have to wait. These messages might be queued. These messages might be queued. Yeah, in what sense are they actually queued? Because one thing is us actually queuing them. I wouldn't say variation. It's almost like so the thing when we built CodeSandbox version 2 with the sandboxes running on VMs, we built like an SDK, internal SDK to talk to these sandboxes. So so what we're doing now is that we're basically exposing all the tooling we built for ourselves internally to developers, so they can build their own products on top of these sandboxes. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. But this queuing, so we're not like queuing them because we are just sending the messages. And now the question is like, should we even wait? Like, should we actually throw an error if one of the messages has an error? No, because you would kind of see that happening, I think. Yeah, then yeah, but then you can rather await the other messages. Yeah, well, that's also interesting. Like, if you wanted to wait for the shell before disconnecting, does this even make sense? Thinking about it, like, who should be responsible for this? Shouldn't consumer of the SDK make sure that they wait for all the messages? But it's like, I guess the issue here is like, is that even a scenario? Like, yeah, because it's just shell.dispose. I think that's the issue here, is that we're not, yeah. Maybe that's the actual problem. It's shell.dispose. It's not, let's see. So shells dispose. Yeah, but when we do kill, we actually, you can actually await that. Yeah. But if you do dispose, this one will dispose. Disposable store. Oh, run command. No, I think it is a safety thing. That's for sure. It is a safety thing. It doesn't hurt to have it. Like, you don't have to wait it. Oh, I think it makes sense that when you disconnect, you can choose to await that disconnect to ensure that, or at least not even await it. The thing is that the disconnect actually allows any messages that currently queued to go through before it actually disconnects. That makes sense. But the thing I'm curious about is, like, we have this message handler and request just, but this is a reconnect queue. Is requesting instance change. Yeah, like this wait reconnect queue. Yeah. But you saw like the latency on this now. We were running a lot of messages through it. And what would have happened there is I wouldn't actually have disposed of that. Okay, we're just gonna have this as a safety precaution. Yeah, when calling it, we would just close down the connect, but you might, but there are scenarios where you might have where a message is still not sent, but should be. Yeah, but I wonder, because we're not really waiting for them to be sent. We're waiting for them to be responded to. And that doesn't really make any sense. We just want to make sure they're being sent, and they are. But at the same time, we're asynchronously handling. No, I think there is a risk here, because when we're sending a message isn't synchronous. We're not like you send a message, it goes straight onto the WebSocket. We are like encoding the message asynchronously. Like we're doing it, it's an async operation to send a message. So there is a real risk we're closing the connection. Yeah. So currently we would just close down the connection. But since getting the message on the wire is an async process, there is a risk you would try to send something. There's a risk you would try to send something but it closed the connection. You would try to send something related to disposing, but it would not be sent. Now, disconnect will return a promise that resolves when all pending messages are resolved. This ensures one, all requests made before disconnect will actually be sent on the wire. User can await can await and verify when actually disconnected. Yeah. Cool. So then we have this thing. So I'm gonna just put Evis on this. And then we're gonna put this into our to-do. Where's our to-do? Okay, so I asked these questions already. Yeah, we need to get that in. Another to-do we have is publish browser static server. This is related to Sampack, just so I don't forget it. Let's see. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is the ability to, this is actually a new feature. So this would be the ability to be able to listen to output from a task. Because it turns out whenever you restart a task, we have to restart the shell. Like dispose of the existing shell and set up a new one. And we kind of want to make it transparent between the task and the running shell, so you don't have to orchestrate that. And that can actually quite easily be done by get tasks, get task. How should we do this? So we have the tasks and then we have the shells, and you have on output, right? But that's on the shell instance. Wait, on output. Running command. Shell on output. Where is it implemented? There we are. So the shell instance has an on output. And then the question is, what's the thing we want to do here? I think we want to have a general on output. So yeah, so we just have an on task output. And then this thing is gonna basically listen to any changes to tasks. Whenever there's a new shell added to a task, we're gonna be listening to that shell and we're gonna emit like these task outputs. And then if the shell is killed, we're gonna kind of stop listening to that output. And then again, if a new shell pops up, yeah, this is gonna be interesting. So first of all, we need something like this. On task output, I guess. And this is not going to be a string. This is going to be an actual task ID output. Let's call it on task output. Oh, okay. Cool. So that's on task output. And then we have to implement, let's see, is there a constructor here? There we go. So that means, how do we do this? Get tasks, get task. Okay, so we are actually able to listen to, let's see, picture client tasks. Wait, oh, client's task. On task update. That's a thing we need to handle. This.add disposable. Actually when we get a chance, I'm gonna refactor this so nothing extends disposable, because it just floods the API surface, which is very annoying. Let's see. Like when you dot into into tasks, you have like 6 properties and methods related to disposable, which is just horrible. So what we need to do is, I'm just going to implement it first, and then we're going to see how we're going to do this. So let's just write it inline here. We're going to clean this up. Oh, look at me having this whole thing. So this is going to give me the task. So we get, so shell here might be null. And I think we're going to just call this.evaluate. Yeah, listen to shell output, and then we give it a task. Let's make that private. Listen to shell output, and then we need a private shell output listeners. So these needs to be so this is just a record of a string, which is basically the task ID, and then we're just gonna we're just gonna dispose of it. I guess we can, I think we can call it a disposable. Let's see. What we have to make sure of though is on will dispose, we have to clear that thing. Yeah. So the task here is like, yeah, protocol task would be protocol.task task DTO, I think. Yeah. So what we want to do here is if this well, first of all, if this dot shell, so we're gonna, what the hell? Oh, you wrote everything. I don't want you to do that. So if we have a shell output listener and there is no task shell, that means has removed shell. What I'm curious about though, you know what? We're not gonna actually have, shit, how are we gonna do this? Because we really want a reference to the shell itself. Oh wait, don't we have the shell ID, right? Yeah, we have the shell ID. Okay, so it's not going to be task ID. We're going to have task shell ID. Oh. So no, we also need a task ID. Oh, how are we going to do this? Because the task itself might not have a shell anymore. So we can't use the shell ID. We need both of them. But we always have the shell ID. So, okay. So the thing we need to do is we need to not only store that, we need the shell ID and we need the disposable. So this basically is the like subscription to the output of the shell, where we have a reference to the shell ID and then the subscription running. Yeah, so we can actually name this type. Let's just call it export type. Well, we don't have to export it. Task shell subscription. Like that. And then what we can do now is, so this is always going to be task ID. So task ID. So if we have a shell output listener on that task ID and there's no task.shell, or that task.shell shell ID is not equal to, why does this have to be? Didn't I just make a check here? That's interesting. We shouldn't need to do that check. Or the existing listener. If existing listener and it's not equal to existing listener shell ID. So this means that like the task is updated, but it's just replaced the shell, right? Which I think is what happens when you rerun it. But what I can't quite, oh yeah, it's the parentheses. No, sorry. There we go. So if we have an existing listener, but now we don't have a shell, or we replace the shell, that means that we need to dispose of the existing listener. Oh, has no. Wait, what? Oh, it's the actual disposer. Sorry. Where are we? Yeah, it's an actual disposable. Sorry. Disposable.dispose. Okay, we're gonna dispose of it, but we might have changed a new shell. So what we need to do now is has new shell. And that means we might not have an existing listener. So we're gonna say listener equals existing listener or, well, sorry. First we have to check if there's a task shell. Has new shell. And then we're gonna say it's gonna be the existing listener, or we're gonna create a new one where the task shell ID, and the disposable is gonna be task.shell. Well, I guess we don't really have, that will be this picture client shells, sorry, clients.shell on shell out. Oh yeah, interesting. Oh my god. Okay. Let's see. By the way, we need to put that this dot task shell output listeners task ID listener. Yeah, and then we can return. Okay, has new shell. We need to set up. Yeah, let's just say shell ID equals. I'm gonna say shell ID. Oh, task shell ID. And then this is task shell ID. And then we're gonna, yeah, output the thing. Nice. And then we have the listener there. We're gonna clean that up. Yeah, I guess this one wasn't happy about that. Disposable, dispose. And then, why aren't you happy? Wait, I disposable? Wait, oh, sorry, this was the generated code. Yes, so this has removed shell, and then if no task.shell, we're just gonna return no new shell. But here it means that it actually has a shell. So I often do this when I write. I try to make my code as least nested as possible. So often I have these return checks just to avoid like having that overhead of the if statement. Okay, so here we have the listener. Everything should be good. And so now we can just generally listen to, there's just one thing. We might already have on task update, but we might already have tasks. So that means this picture clients. I don't think, do we really have that? We could have. Get tasks. I don't think that's just a map, right? Tasks. What's this? Oh, that's a record. Come on. Is there a chance that I'm actually not sure about this. So it's async to get the actual tasks. But we did a mistake when we built the thing. We built state into the SDK. So like that you always have a list of tasks, but it's just empty to begin with, which is silly. That's a client concern. That was a big mistake. We had issues in React dealing with that as well. So we're not going to do that again when we move everything over to the SDK. But, okay, so we don't really have... Okay, do we need to do this as it's mounting? I don't think we do. No. Let's drop that. Okay, so now we're going to do has remove shell, no new shell, has new shell. Okay, so we're going to build this, and then we're going to play around with this. I actually have a meeting in... It does not have the issue. Thinking we should also keep track of internal needs, not only feedback from customers. Feature requests. There is a lot of stuff we would like to do with infra, etc. that does not directly affect product. Cool. Yeah, we built that. Let's try it. Where's our shell SDK test? I guess we have to restart the TS server. So what we're gonna do now, we're not gonna so now we're opening a terminal and we're creating a shell. We're not gonna create a shell anymore. We are rather gonna do tasks on task output. So that's not on the wait. And you know what? We're just going to log this for now. But we are going to write to our shell. We're not going to do this. Okay, I guess, let's see. Well, I guess we can just write it. But we can log, okay, so this will be, sorry, task ID and output. Plus task ID, and this will be the output. Maybe this should be called data instead. We'll figure that out. Okay, so we can drop this stuff now. I guess we don't need, oh yeah. Cool. I think that's it. So now we're gonna, yeah, this is really it. Let's see what happens now. So let's reload this window. There really ain't anything happening there now, but if I were to Wait, we're not getting any console log. So what if I were to restart? Oh. Okay, so I definitely have a bug. Can I read properties of undefined? Oh, interesting. Listen to shell output. So that means this isn't as disposable? Oh. On shell out. It is a disposable. Why is it saying... Wait a minute. What did it say? Cannot read properties of undefined. Oh, so it was trying... Wait. How can... Oh. Wait, no. How can you have an existing listener without... Hmm? Wait a minute. This is also wrong. Existing listener. Wait a minute. So if I have an existing listener... What does that mean? Oh wait, that's definitely wrong. We shouldn't check that. We have a new listener. Always have a new listener, sorry. We never have an existing listener. But why did it even... Okay, let me just... What the fuck? Existing listener. That was weird. Let's just build it again. Wait. Why are you saying that? Property is missing. Oh, was it me? Oh, look at me. Sorry, task output, task shell subscription. Was a typo. Disposable. Wait, what are you complaining about now? Oh, disposable. Come on. Okay. Anyways. Let's see now. Okay, so we're opening that up. There's nothing running there, but if I restart it... Oh, okay. So that was correct, but nothing popped up in the shell. Isn't that weird? Huh. That is certainly weird. So there was nothing on... Okay, let's listen to this. What the fuck? Shell ID out. Why isn't there any output? Oh, could there be... Okay, I'm gonna try something. So when we... okay, this might actually be an issue with... Ah, shit. I think this is just an issue with when we restart a task, we don't actually emit. I'm gonna add another listener here. I'm curious about something. Client shell on shell created. But we didn't actually listen to shell output task. Console.log task updated. Okay, now we have some info. Okay, I have to jump into a session very shortly. Let's see. Sorry. Task updated. Oh, I was just gonna add. So there's absolutely nothing happening here. Let's try to restart it again. Okay. Okay, interesting. So we did get... so first of all, we got shell ID. What did it actually update here? Task updated. I wonder what it changed. Oh, killed. Yeah, so it killed the shell. And then it created, so this is ID 85, and then it created a new shell ID. And then yeah, exactly. And then we got the new shell on the task update with running. Oh, I wonder if when we get that task update and we're listening to the new shell, we should just trigger like, we're actually gonna trigger this. an out would be, let's say this picture clients shall get, oh, I thought we could like, okay, interesting. So we need the output of the shell, but get shells. Okay, let's just write it. So that would be a shell instance, would be instance task dot shell dot shell ID. Shell ID. Okay, you know what? I need to jump into a session, so I have to stop, but I'm gonna debug this, and then I think I'm gonna write some documentation after that, because I want to prep as much as possible for the release. And then, yeah, I might jump on later, but probably not. Okay, so we'll talk again on Monday, I think. And then I'll have more news on the actual release and what we should focus on. Cool. Bye for now.